All right, welcome. We are live, or so I think. You got
Tom's
Tom, you
live.
got George.
I'm the invisible man now. I'm not George.
George is heard but not seen. He still doesn't have his camera up and running. So
I'm sure people aren't even. I am an AI.
I've replaced George with AI.
Think about it. That's not as. It's probably more accurate, honestly.
Chat GPG. George.
That's kind of funny. Bitcoin's a fake out.
Today was a lie. That's my opening statement. Today was a lie. We'll discuss. I'll see what you guys think. They're trying. They're trying. This was ridiculous. And I think we were off to the races, and then it was just pure nonsense FUD, in my opinion. So we'll definitely discuss more and do a poll sooner than later. If you're here, and if you would be so kind. Oh, see, now my button, the like button. I'm hitting the smash the like button, but nothing's happening. So if you could smash the like button, even though you won't see that on your screen. So it helps the stream. I see one more person has liked, so please smash the like button. Enough said.
Tom,
Yes.
did you know it's July? Coming up any day now?
Tomorrow. Not
Tomorrow,
yeah.
yep.
I know the year is half over. Which is
This is crazy.
insanity.
Big time. Big time.
I'm reading. Oh, we got the Pug. The Pug abides. Welcome. Hello, Edmund and Scott and Steven and Barry. And if I missed anybody, Dave, Wim. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Christ is King. A lot of questions today I got about Nano Dimension. So I think I'm going to do another Nano video. They had earnings report. They had some interesting stuff. They're in the middle of trying to make a deal here that's a pretty big deal. I don't know that it's going to happen, but it's definitely worthy of a follow-up video. I did several Nano videos a while ago, and they've been fairly quiet. But today, the last 24 hours, I've gotten like 6 or 7 requests to talk about Nano Dimension. So I won't take up everybody's time on this stream today because I know that's not for everybody. But for those interested, I am going to pick up and do update my last deep dive on Nano Dimensions and get a video out next week for that. The interest is real.
I'm going to see what Nano's doing.
I'm just not getting any readings here on this board. I got a Stream Deck, for those of you who know what that is. Clearly I don't. It's supposed to it's supposed to do stuff like smash the like button, and it's just not doing anything right now. I don't think I know how to use this thing. Hello, Nathan. Hello, Steve. Hello, Cy. Edmund said, I bought 300 shares of Mara the past 2 days and sold 2 Mara July 21st, 15 calls. Just a trade, but we'll hold the last 100 for a while. AP Squad, is Riot still your biggest holding? Question mark. I see a lot of potential from them. So it's getting very, very close. Riot was by far my biggest holding, and that was not intentional. It just ran up so much that it turned into by far my biggest holding. So I did sell some off to try and even out my portfolio. So I think Riot and CleanSpark are probably, you know, I have a couple of different accounts, but I think if I add them up, they're neck and neck. So those are my 2 biggest. Bitfarms is right behind that. Iris Energy is the thing I've bought the most of in 2023. but, you know, it's not yet one of my biggest positions. But, yeah, that is still a large position for me. And I like what, you know, I just did a Riot video. It's funny. It seems like Marathon is much, much, much more popular than Riot among the world of investors. Maybe inside of, you know, hello, Chris Dominator, speaking of Riot and Marathon. Chris says, George, buy Mara. Stop hating on Mara. Chris, you'll see, I did not hate on Mara. I just did a Mara video yesterday, and there's just a lot more interest. I did a Riot video a couple of days ago and a Mara video, and the Mara video is going to get at least twice as many views, and it always does. So, I don't know. That's just a very popular stock. And they do have a lot going on, and, I mean, but they have an interesting story, but Riot has an interesting story. I mean, Riot's got a lot going on. The Bitcoin miners have a lot going on right now, in my opinion. A lot of them. And a lot of them are still, for me personally, way undervalued. I did try to capitalize on, you know, this nonsense. Oh, yeah, nice. That's a good drawing. Very good. Nice work. See, it's because I'm left-handed, and they make, you know, your mouse is right-handed, although I guess you could switch that. Anyway, you guys get the point. This was 2:15. These are 15-minute candles. So, you know, from the top to the bottom, we were down $1,670 in maybe 20 minutes. So I tried to capitalize on that with some options, but the thing is, the options market was not buying into whatever was happening here. So the options were not changing corresponding to this. So I did end up getting a few options, but nothing. And then, you know, everything was trading inside of a range here where, you know, I tried a dollar cost average. So, you know, a pullback like that in a few minutes doesn't really represent an opportunity to, you know, average in at a new price point. But I was hoping maybe the options would react, but they never believed this. This was false. So I'll get to, I've kind of said it 3 or 4 times. In my opinion, this was totally false. Basically, news was released that the SEC does not like the language that, most specifically, BlackRock, Fidelity, all these new applications have some language pertaining to transparency isn't the right word. I should go find the right words. But essentially, for SEC, it gives the SEC ability to look at what's going on in real time and avoid any, you know, manipulation on the spot market. And the SEC basically said, nope, I don't like this language. It's not clear enough. Does not explain what you're going to do for us. You know, rewrite it.
We are going to buy Bitcoin. Yep, sorry, that's confusing.
So that article comes out, and the reaction to that was, oh, the SEC just denied all the Bitcoin spot ETF applications. But that's not what happened at all. They basically said, we need clarification, redo it, resubmit it, and that is not uncommon. I mean, so it was not, you know, and I think within an hour, people realized, okay, this isn't exactly what we thought it was. There was no need to press the panic button. There's no need, you know, $1,600 drop in, you know, 20 or 30 minutes is drastic compared to, particularly, we've been trading very tight, and, you know, we've been moving up, but it's been pretty tight trading. So that was it was totally false, and it reversed itself, you can see. Now, we didn't get all the way back to where we were, but we did get basically back to where this orange line right here is where we were yesterday. So we pretty much ran back up to where we were yesterday, and, you know, it was nothing. But these guys, a lot of the miners were off to the races, and then, you know, they turned around, and a bunch of them ended up in the red here. So, for me, Iris was way up, and I didn't buy any, but I did get, those are the only options I got. I got $5 strike point July options, but I got 5 of them. So, I mean, it was like nothing. That's all I could get. That nobody was selling. So, you know, I think the people who hold the options, you know, they weren't falling for this one. So I think that was all, I don't know if a lie is the right word. I think it was a massive overreaction, manipulation maybe. Some people took advantage of, you know, a news story. So the SEC says spot Bitcoin ETF filings are inadequate. This is in the Wall Street Journal. So this news hit, and immediately regulators tell NASDAQ, CBOE that applications from BlackRock, Fidelity, and others aren't clear and comprehensive. So they're asking for clarification. That's not a rejection, right? They're nowhere near in the process to get to the point of an acceptance or a rejection. So this story, I think, was just created for some people to get an opportunity to buy into the market and take more people's money. That's my personal opinion. I have no data to support that statement. So
2 full moons next month, Tom.
Double whammy. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I do not know.
It could be a good thing.
Could be a bad thing. I don't know. Just saying, double moon next month. The first one's, I think the 4th of July, like the 3rd or something like that is the first one.
DEFCON 2 said the SEC pulled an Elon Musk. Yeah, that's actually well said. That's exactly right. And someone's asking, do we care about the ETFs if we invest in crypto miners? But the answer to that, in my opinion, is yes, because the crypto miners are a direct leveraged play on Bitcoin. And if and when one of these spot ETFs, not the future ETFs, but when a spot ETF, particularly from a Fidelity or a BlackRock or ARK Invest, resubmitted theirs, you know, changing some language as well. So, you know, when one of these comes on the market, I think it's going to be one of the biggest booms in the history of Bitcoin. That's my personal opinion. The money that will then have access to buying Bitcoin in a traditional way through the regular broker, you know, is going to be, you know, 10,000-fold the amount of money that has access to buying Bitcoin right now. Doesn't mean I think, you know, it's going to 10,000x, but I think that, you know, a piece of that is going to get allocated and it's going to cause that will be a part of the next bull run. And they've delayed it, and they've delayed it. Like, they've delayed this. All right, welcome to Talking Investing. Organic Auto has something to say. Member for 3 months. Thank you for being a member for 3 months. Just like I said in the member chat, ETF did not get denied. Yes, so I responded to that, Organic Auto. I agree completely. It did not get denied. In my opinion, I actually see this being bullish. SEC told them what to do in order to get approved. So I agree with that. I think that's exactly what happened. So if anything, you know, this was either neutral or maybe even bullish, because they did essentially give guidance to say, here, this is what you need to work on. So I would agree with that. Thanks again, Organic Auto, for your comment and for being a member for 3 months. For those of you who don't know, you can be a member by hitting the join button on the YouTube page right next to the subscribe button. It's only $5 a month. It does help the channel, so I appreciate it. Take this time right now I see a lot of members in the chat, so thank you very much. Your contribution does help keep the channel going. And thanks to everybody for showing up, and to all the subscribers, and to everybody who would please smash the like button so that we can spread. We want to beat last week's live stream. So let's get some momentum.
You know what's funny? Is remember everybody's like, oh, no one's going to watch today.
This is... we were talking about the member stream for Tuesday because the market in the U.S. is going to be closed. And now I see that the market in the U.S. on Monday is actually going to close at 1 o'clock. So it's going to close early on Monday. It's going to be closed altogether on Tuesday in the U.S. Of course, for some of these, we can keep our eye on like Hot Hive Bitfarms on the Canadian exchanges if they're open, which I think they would be. Ty is saying ETF approval will be great news to company like Mara and MicroStrategy. So, Chris, we have a free Discord. There's a members-only Discord that comes with the membership. So the membership, we have a members-only live stream once a week, every Tuesday after the market closes. On that live stream, the members get to pick a company for me to do a deep dive in, and that deep dive video is for members only. And in addition to that, you get access to our members-only Discord. So that's $5 a month. It's got to be the cheapest membership anywhere, but it does help the channel, since YouTube has decided that.
I have a question, Tom.
Yeah.
What was your last, video did you do the last one on, the last deep dive?
We just did a deep dive on Stronghold.
How did that come out?
You know, we got a lot of people watching it. I
mean, it was very interesting deep dive. You don't need to get into specifics. I'm not saying that.
Yes, and to me, that's a company that it's a new position for me that I've added in 2023, and it's a company I like a lot. George, you've talked about them a lot in the past on the channel, and
yeah, I love them. I mean, they're probably one of the best Bitcoin miners for the environment, and that's the thing that no one talks about, is that, you know, what they're doing for the environment is very respectable, and they're taking a problem and they're making it go away. And nobody else was even trying to clean it up. That's what's even more amazing. You know what I mean?
They are doing something that no other company in the world is doing. It's unbelievably environmentally friendly, and they really, I don't know, you know, someday when the FUD is over with Bitcoin, Stronghold's story is going to get told, and I think that's going to be a big catalyst. Right now, you know, they don't want to hear the Bitcoin miners are doing great things for the environment.
Right.
I mean, these guys are cleaning up millions of tons of toxic waste. So it's hard to argue that that's not environmentally friendly.
Right, and they're powering it. They're using it to power. That's what's even crazier.
Right, exactly. So they're cleaning it up and using it to create power and mine Bitcoin. So I think
ash has been there. That ash has been there for over 100 years.
It's been there for a long time. It's, you know, they have over 100 fires burning at any given time. They spontaneously combust into fire because it's all toxic waste. The runoff goes into the ground. It goes into the water. Yeah. It's been a long-standing disaster, and they're cleaning it up. And they have before and after pictures that you'll see. I mean, they've turned disaster areas into soccer fields. So
yeah. So very good. I mean, that's what's crazy about that one.
Yeah, they happen to have a great day today, up 6%, but you know, that's just today. To me, that's a much bigger long-term story. So I thought that was an interesting one for the group to pick to do a deep dive on. Recently, we've done a couple of AI stocks. We did Applied Digital, which has been on a roll. And then we did stock ticker AI, which, well, I guess you can join and watch it, but spoiler alert. For me, that's a little bit overheated. But I do go into what it is and what they do, and, you know, then I always give my opinion. But that's just my opinion, right? As I say repeatedly, this is not financial advice.
Yeah. Do what you want with your own money, but make smart decisions.
Invest wisely. Do your own due diligence. Know your stocks. That's the most important thing. Whatever stock you pick, you got to know. George and I were just talking off the air right before this started. The hardest part about the stock market and all investments is timing, and sometimes you got to wait for it. And, you know, if you're early, that doesn't mean you're wrong. If you're willing to dollar cost average in and wait it out you know, a lot of times that is rewarded over the course of years.
And
But
you know, that brings me to a very interesting point. What was the name of those guys that up in New Jersey, like Three Arrow Capital,
oh,
and they lost $3.5 billion or something like that?
yeah, and then they kind of disappeared.
Right. They were right. Their timing was awful.
That's well, exactly, and that's what can happen. Oh, hold on. I want to take one moment. FV702, super chat of $10. Thank you very much, sir. Hopefully that means you had a good week. And
Thank you,
FV702
sir.
is a member.
All right.
So thanks for the super chat contribution and all of your notes and chats and whatnot and your thoughts. So appreciate it. Hope everybody had a great week. This was a good week for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. I know today was a little funky with that giant dip, but I think we've got some time for things to sort itself out over the weekend. All right, just another timeout. Organic Auto, thank you so much for the super chat as well. Very much appreciated. And Organic Auto's Garden says, shout out to Tom George members and viewers. This is a great channel, and I appreciate everyone's knowledge and input. Great things await us with Bitcoin miners, and go Riot Cleanspark. So thank you very much. I agree with I couldn't have said it better myself. I agree with every word of that. Thanks, Organic Autos. Very much appreciated.
I just thought of another thing. Some of the picks, well, most of the picks, especially on the members, have been from the member, chat, and they've been awesome. They've been and the people have made a lot of money.
Yeah, and for the most part, right. So the way we do in the members only, the deep dives are not my picks. Members give recommendations on stocks because we have a lot of excellent, outstanding members that know their stocks, and so they'll recommend stocks that they know in and out, and then we vote and pick one a week and do a deep dive on it. So yeah, for me, it's great. So, personally, I get to do a deep dive on a company that I never would find. You guys know how many companies there are out there. You can't find them all, but because we have so many different diverse people looking at different things, we get to take a look at a lot of different companies I personally would never have known about, if it wasn't for the members. So special thanks to the members for all the great recommendations. Barry said, are we still doing bonus live shows? So if I could catch a day where something's going right here and we reach, we've done some extra live shows over the last couple of months, but then we went through a period where really the market lost interest, the YouTube viewers lost a lot of interest, and I did not want to saturate everybody when it seemed like everybody was exhausted. But I think everybody's had a nice break. It seems like everybody is back in the game. So I'm sure you guys behind the scenes were there all along. So, and a lot of you have been with us, and we're starting to get rewarded a little bit here for our patience. But we did have a couple months here this year where, we were off to the races at the beginning of the year. Then we had about 2 months it was pretty tough. It is hard to go sideways day after day after day for 2 months. So I know people got exhausted. I did too. But, we're still here doing our thing.
Has any of that changed your outlook on Bitcoin overall?
For me, no. I think I'm going to zoom out. Good question, George. I'm going to zoom out and look at the 1 day because to me, I'm very optimistic. I'm probably growing in optimism here. Just trying to get out far enough to take a look from the bottom. So, we talked about this. This is the period I'm talking about. This line is a couple of months long. We had a descending line here of resistance that we kept bumping into and just kind of pulled back. But ultimately, we set a higher low. That's what we were looking to do. We held this purple line that's been here for, this goes back to August of 2022. So, you know, these aren't new lines we just pop on here. This was the line that we really, really, really wanted to hold. This held, we bounced off of it, and the bull run continues. So this you know, yellow arrow, we're 6 months plus. We're now 7 months into, you know, this bounce off of the bottom. November 9th, that was FTX. Everybody remembers that was a nightmare. Yes, we were already, you know, basically at a very low point in the cycle. And, you know, then it seemed like the wheels came off, and we even took out our, what I thought was going to be our low at around 17,500, got down to 15,460, double bottomed in the month of November, and this is extremely bullish. You know, just technically looking at this, it's very, I believe that, you know, there's everything points to the bull run continuing. That doesn't mean we won't have like this 2 months of pulling back. And now you can see this, we're right at the point we've been talking about. We want to break out of this 31,000, and it's, you know, it's tough. That's because that's going to be the next leg up, in my opinion. So, you know, we've been bumping into it. This was last Friday. So a week ago, you can see we candle wicked above 31,000. And 2 days during the week, we did so. Did we get there this day? Yep, we did there again on the Sunday the 25th, and then again on Tuesday. And now, obviously, today, we got up to 31,277. So, you know, if we can just get there and hold that, if we can start to, and I'm going to go back to the 15-minute, because I think we've found a really strong line of support at $30,000. And ordinarily, you don't look to lines of support on the 15-minute chart. But if you look at the one-day chart, you'll see this has held. 2 days ago, we closed above 30,000. You know, we tested it. We closed above it. Yesterday, we bounced off of it and closed way above it. Today, we're way above it. But even if I drill all the way down to 15 minutes, that same $30,000 mark, this held at the 15-minute time frame all day today. So you can see, like, here we closed at $30,010. That was the lowest 15-minute candle of the day. So this was unbelievably bullish, in my opinion. Obviously, this was whatever the heck it was here for a half an hour. And then, you know, we held. Look at this candle wick, right? It looked, at this point, you know, this was just sinking. This was sinking. If you were looking at the 4-hour candle or a 2-hour candle, it was just going down, 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 down. And to the point where we got down to, let's see, what was our low here? 29,417. Even that 15-minute candle where we were at 29,004, we closed way above 30,000. So this has turned, in my opinion, into a line of support that I think we can start looking at. If this can start to hold, we bounce off of this, head up, right? I think we're all looking for that next leg up, whether it's to 33 or 35, you know, one step at a time. I think this thing can sort itself out now. We've got the weekend for Bitcoin to sort itself out a little bit. We have, in the United States, we have a half day on Monday. But remember, of course, as you guys know, Bitcoin itself trades 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are no holidays. So I think it can get through, you know, to a very bullish point sometime next week. I think we're due, and we're already seeing a difference.
2 questions, Tom. 1, are we on a bull run now? And then 2, are we above the 200 moving day average?
Yes, we are way the 200 week moving average. I'm going to add, and I got to pull out to the daily to even see it anymore. I mean, that's now, this is how far above we are. This is the 200 week moving average, which is a crucial line. And you can see, as we were finding this resistance over the course of these few months, we actually did dip back below. But Bitcoin acted a little more normal. When we get below this line, which has only ever happened a few times in the history of Bitcoin, we usually race right back above it. So that happened, and now we're we're 13 or 14% above this line. So that's why I'm saying I think we've put that in the rearview mirror. I think, we are bullish. That doesn't mean there won't be pullbacks. We just had one for 2 months. And somebody was saying, the spring was zzz, which, Z's for sleep. And that's true. It was. But from that, we had a nice bounce. So I'm bullish. If that answers your question, I think everybody knows.
It does.
I'm bullish. And that doesn't mean I think every single Bitcoin miner is going straight to the moon. I don't think Bitcoin's running straight to its all-time high. But I think overall this year is going to continue to be bullish. I think for the rest of the year, we'll talk Fed a little bit later. I think there's some nonsense coming out of the Fed as well, and that has held us back a little bit. We should get a poll up. I'm going to start with the Fed. For those of you who may or may not care, but basically Jerome Powell came out and talked again twice this week and said the majority of Fed members think they're going to need to do 2 more rate hikes. So I don't believe that. So we'll talk. I'll let you know what I think, but let's take a vote.
So interest rates going up, how does that affect Bitcoin? Is it the exact opposite or is it the same?
Interest rates going up. I mean, to me, it's bad. It's bad for Bitcoin. It's bad for the market. It's bad for the economy. And we're a little bit between a rock and a hard place, but I don't think, I'm going to give you my opinion. I have a different opinion. Not everything's not sunshine and roses, but I don't think 2 rate hikes is the solution. I think that's going to cause many more problems than it will solve, in my opinion. But first, so now I already said mine. So by a rate hike, I'm talking about 25 basis points.
There's no way they're doing 50.
Right. So 50 at a time is off the table. Really, they've been talking about, are they going to do 2 in a row? Are they going to pause? And he even indicated it looks like, we may, let's not take that off the table. We may have to do 2 in a row. So I'm saying. So
when's the next meeting, Tom?
Oh, the next meeting is the end of July.
Did you see how cheap gas was? I don't know where you guys are, but here in Atlanta, it just went under $3. And that's really cheap for Atlanta.
I just got gas today, and I can't even tell you what I paid. That's bad. It was pretty cheap, though. It was cheap. It was like $2.89.
Makes me realize how I don't know if that's good or bad. For long term, for the economy or not. I don't know.
Well, I mean, oil's been down. All right, so how many rate hikes will the Fed do going forward? So that's for the rest of this year, and then, I don't think they're going to do any next year. So 0, 1, 2, or 3. I don't think any other scenario is on the table. 3 is already, for me, in my mind, no one's even talking about 3, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. Right there. Anything's possible. So let's see if anybody has not yet, and you're able to, if you could please smash the like button. I'm still hitting the button to smash the like button. And still getting the same result, which is that it doesn't work right now. So
that's really funny.
See, I'm an optimist. It doesn't work, but I keep trying.
Wow, true inflation, they say, is 2.44.
See, that's getting very, very close to the Fed's target rate. But they got their own measurement. Core inflation has been stubborn. It's not where they want it to be. I know there's a lot of reasons to potentially have some rate hikes that the numbers are lining up just enough for them to justify to do that if they want to. But I will reiterate the thing that I always say. Really, the biggest tool the Fed has is to threaten rate hikes. Because there's only so many that they can actually do, right? They cannot continue to raise rates forever. Or ultimately, there's consequences on the other side. Now, where exactly the end of that is a point of, valid debate. But they can't raise them forever. But they can threaten to raise them. And that's one of their main tools. So, to me, it's no surprise they're talking as tough as they possibly can. And they're going to do that. They're going to do that right up until literally the day that they lower rates. The day before that, they'll still be talking tough.
But I would think there's one more. There's one more rate hike. There's got to be at least one.
From what they're saying, I was going to do a video that I think they've fooled me. I now think they're going to do one. I think they're talking about two so much, knowing they can really only do one, so at least they can talk tough and say they're going to do two. I still think they should do zero. That's what I would do if I was in charge, which I am not.
Did you see that $7 a gallon for gas in UK?
That's rough. That's crazy.
Isn't it? Yeah. I wonder how much of that is taxes. Do you know that, Stephen? How much of that is taxes? That'd be interesting to figure out. Why is Bitcoin cash pumping, Tom? I have a theory.
Well, you go, because you're the one who brought this up to me earlier this week.
Yeah, I said because I think most people think it's Bitcoin. I think that a lot of people don't know what Bitcoin is, and I think that they think that that's Bitcoin, and that's why it pumps. And I expect it to pump big time.
Well, and it's still got a long way to go, I believe, to get back to where it was.
I think it's a good investment. I mean, if you look at where it was and what it is, it's like, oh my goodness. But that also scares you when you look at Ethereum Classic too, by the way. How?
I'm looking at Darren, who said there's no more rate hikes. Powell is just flapping his pie hole. And Edmund said, 2 rate hikes. Let's sink in economy and the administration.
So I have a question. What happens if there is another rate hike? Is that good for Bitcoin, bad for Bitcoin? That's number one. And number two, you think we'll be all over with then? What do you think?
I think I would not do another rate hike. We do risk the banks are on the brink, not the big banks, and all the banks just passed their stress test. And, from that standpoint, yeah, everything's fine. But there's a lot of regional banks in the United States that are very big, that are still in the same risk equation that they were, 3 or 4 months ago when, 3 of the largest bank failures in history happened in the United States. So, they got into these 10-year notes. That situation doesn't change in 3 months. They're still in the identical situation that they were. So, every time they raise rates, they risk, bank failures. I don't think they care. I don't think they mind if there's some more managed bank failures. And if, they just let 3 of the largest bank failures, 3 of the 4 largest bank failures of all time have happened this year. In the United States, that is. So I don't think they're afraid of that. And I do think if they raise rates even one more time, there's a big risk of that. That doesn't mean it's automatically definitely going to happen, but that risk is on the table. And if they do it twice, I mean, I don't know the future, but I think you can expect many banks to fail if they do 2 rate hikes from here.
So if they do 1, do you think there's going to be any more?
I think that it's a risk. That risk grows tremendously if they do 1. It's not guaranteed, and I don't think it's going to be a catastrophe necessarily, but I don't think they mind. I think in their mind they know if we do another rate hike that we may have, you know, another couple of casualties here with the banks. And, you know, that's, in their mind, that's what it's going to take to keep inflation in check. They're looking for the economy to, part of their, I mean, they don't want to say this part out loud, but, you know, they have a dual mandate. And sometimes, in order to achieve that, they're looking, I'm not going to say to crash the economy, but they're looking to put the brakes on the economy. They're looking for a soft landing, recession, you know, versus delaying, and maybe having something even worse than that happen. So that's the way a lot of the members of the Fed look at it. That's their perspective.
Did you know, speaking of that, organic, there's 587 banks right now that fail the stress test. FYI, by the way.
All the big banks, of course, passed the stress test.
Yeah.
So,
but the regional guys and so what are the probably more the mid-range guys? Well, think about it. I have people offering 6% interest now, guaranteed money at banks. That's just unheard of.
Yeah,
5.55, you know, 5.5, 5.34, 5.75, right around there.
I mean, we've been used to like long-term CDs being 0.75%.
This is a good one. Rich says, "Is Pepe better than Bitcoin?"
Hey, listen, in the short term, a meme stock can do crazy things. So I never trade any of what I consider to be the meme stocks. For me, that's Doge, that's Shiba Inu. And, you know, I don't really, and then there's another 10,000 past that. Those two are big market caps, though. So people are trading in those. Organic Auto said, I still think there are bank problems that we aren't hearing about. If they do rate hikes, those problems may continue. So I agree. That didn't go anywhere. And, you know, whether they can withstand the blow of one more rate hike, we'll see. Two, to me, they're just saying, we know bad things are ahead, a recession is ahead, bank failures are ahead, but that's what it's going to take to slow down inflation. And that is their biggest fear. Spiraling inflation right now is their biggest concern. His Honor said, Tom, now that NE has implemented a 1-to-7 reverse split, what are your thoughts going forward? Seems like it's time for a deep dive video. So I agree with that. I think it's time for a deep dive on NE. I didn't buy any this week, but only because these reverse stock splits, we did this poll last week. Everybody hates them, and there's a sell-off. So, you know, I'm trying to, if the opportunity presents itself, I might open a position in that. I don't know if it'll be a long-term position, but I think it's getting oversold. We'll look at its chart, but a deep dive is worthy because they've grown dramatically. You know, that's not my final answer on, you know, are they going to survive and thrive and all that, but I will say they've grown substantially. They've made a lot of progress. Whether it's enough, it still leaves them as one of the very, very small Bitcoin miners. You know, they're a nano cap stock, and I do think it's going to be harder for them to survive. But you can see, like yesterday, other than this, here they candle wicked down on this day to adjusted for the stock split $1.62. Yesterday they got down to $1.76. So you can see they're retesting their all-time low. So I always try to look at these and go, you know, here's a stock retesting its all-time low. Is this the worst spot this stock has ever been in? Well, Bitcoin's double what it was when it was at its all-time low. So that's different, right? That's 100% better. Their exahash is up substantially. Still small number, but it's up substantially. So, you know, those are the things you got to put together. But then, you know, at the end of the day, you got to decide, even with all that, you know, are they just too far behind and it's too late? And so there's a lot of factors, but this is the type of formation where I always try to say, I look at all these charts and I create so many of my own charts and graphs that I try to share with everybody in a lot of my videos. Not because any one graph is going to tell me the answer. Nothing's the answer key, but this shouts like, hey, this is worth another look. We got a stock here. We got a Bitcoin mining company stock hanging around its all-time low, you know, when the Bitcoin miners are doing extremely well in the year 2023. So why is this one at or around its all-time low? And then you find out the answer. If the answer is because they did a reverse split and they're just down and, you know, there's a lot of room to the upside, or, you know, it's because they're going out of business. Sometimes that's the answer.
Is any going out of business, do you think?
I have to do a deep dive because I just don't want to give a yes or no to that. I think that I think that's still on the table for them. I'm not projecting that they go out of business, but I don't know. I'm going to show you how small. So it's not a clear path. Yeah,
not a clear path.
Right. But in the meantime, you know, one of the things that I look at is, you know, their market cap, even if they don't make it in the long run, which is why I say sometimes, you know, these are long-term buy and holds, which is mostly what I do. But sometimes, you know, there's a swing trade to be had. Of course, this says $1 billion, which is wrong.
I was going to say, that company's worth $1 billion?
It's like $21 million right now, or $22 million. Let's do this. Why is this giving me a hassle?
This is a great example of why you don't trust Yahoo or any of the companies that come up with the valuation of what the stock really is.
So here you'll see on Google they're saying it's 21 million. And I think you'll find if you do the math, this is approximately correct. So it's one of the smallest Bitcoin miners by market cap. I know there's several. This isn't even a micro cap. This is a nano cap stock. So to me, even if they're going to fail 2 years from now, are they going to run from 20 million up to 100 million? Because that's still going to leave them one of the smallest market cap Bitcoin miners. So, you know, those are the kind of potential swing trades that there are in addition to, you know, long-term buy and hold. So I'm not convinced yet. I need to update my due diligence on this, and I've done several deep dives on this. I'm not sure how many of them I've taken through to a video, but this is one I keep a close eye on. But I think it's time.
Are they reporting monthly now of the Bitcoins they mine?
Yes.
What are they mining now?
They've had dramatic improvement. That's what I'll say. I don't want to give my whole deep dive away, or
I'm just curious what they are. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, they're still under 100, I think, per month, but like they've increased drastically in the last 90 days. And that's been their plan. That's what they said they were going to do for a while now. And, you know, then the time came to see if they did it or not, and they did what they said. Right, exactly. You guys know that's one of the things we always talk about. Do they do what they say they're going to do? And Sphere 3D did, so that's another good thing. Do you see Bitfarms looking to expand rapidly with their latest F10 filing? So I think Bitfarms is going to expand rapidly, no, but I think they know they have to keep up. There's a certain amount of exahash to, this is keeping up with the Joneses at this point. And I'm going to go to one of my charts here. So today is June 30th. So, you know, as we get monthly updates, which is going to start happening Monday, we'll get Bitfarms' monthly update. They always do that on the first business day of the month. There's a couple others now that have started to do that as well. So we're going to start to see, I can put the next month together. But if you look, you got Cleanspark, we know, is looking to get these 4 Core Scientific, which, you know, looks like they're coming out of Chapter 11 sooner than later. Marathon, Riot, CleanSpark. These guys are all talking 20, you know, exahash. Some of them are talking more than that. But then there's this next group. Cypher, Iris Energy, Bitfarms, TerraWolf, Hive, Hut. All of those, I think all of those are trying to get, you know, they're trying to get to 8 to stay in the ballgame. Hive has already basically said they've got a path to 6, but I think most of these guys are going to try and at least get to 8. The last thing that Bitfarms put out was, you know, they have a path from 5 to 5.3. They have a lot more capacity in Argentina, so, you know, I think they're going to grow, but I think they're going to be, they learned some hard lessons the last time around, so I think they're going to try to really balance not getting ahead of themselves. And they're going to continue. They were crawling, and now they're walking, and I think they're going to be careful. But yeah, there's more growth. That's one of my very high conviction plays. So I like Bitfarms. I think what they're doing is good stuff. I know that their management made a mistake. Some people are never going to let that go, and that's their right. You know, it was a big mistake. They would be at 10 exahash right now had they not, you know, made a big kind of financial risk, too much risk. And it,
how
it
much
went the wrong way.
is their stock trading at now, Tom?
They're still hanging out just around, so they closed at $1.47 today, so they've been hanging around that $1.50 mark. So I'm looking, that's the run I was waiting for. It took a lot longer than I expected, but it's finally to $1.50. I'm looking for it to run to $2. That's my personal opinion. I think that, you know, this next run up, Bitcoin 35,000 in my mind is going to equal Bitfarms $2. That's what I'm looking for.
Nice. Nice, Tom.
Okay, so Edmund is saying, when is the member chat going to be? I see you, Edmund. I'm not trying to ignore you. So we need to decide. I really don't think anybody's going to want to do a chat on Tuesday. They're going to be with their families in the U.S., I would think, for the most part. So I don't know. Wednesday? George, what do you think?
Yeah, Wednesday's fine with me.
So maybe we'll do members only chat, and we'll put a note out to all the members. But instead of Tuesday after the market close, because by the time we do a members chat on Tuesday, we're going to have, in the United States, a half a day of trading on Monday and no trading on Tuesday.
Oh, my. It's time, by the way. It's time.
It's time?
I just found something. There's a stock that you and I talk about all the time. And it just did its thing again. It's time again. It's time.
Unbelievable. I'm going to end.
It's like clockwork. Every single, it does the exact same thing. Doesn't matter.
It's the one thing you could set your clock by. How many rate hikes will the Fed do going forward? This was the poll. I'm going to end this poll. It was pretty close. Most of the people, well, no, not most of the people. The one with the most votes at 33% was 2 rate hikes. 1 rate hike got 28%. 0 rate hikes got 19%, and that's the same amount as 3 rate hikes got. So I think that says everything right there. You know, we've got people don't know what the Fed's going to do. We were all over the place on this point.
Yeah, that's crazy. Usually we're tighter than that.
Much tighter, and with consensus, and we didn't even reach close. Nothing got close to a majority here. So it's up in the air, and so I think it's going to be 1. I thought it was going to be 0. Now I think it's going to be 1. But, you know, more than half the people think it's going to be at least 2, if not more. Right? If I add up 2 and 3, that's 51%.
By the way, it was a 1 for 10.
Split. Yep.
Did you know this or no?
Huh?
Did you know this?
No, that must have happened just in the last few days.
No, they said it was I don't know what day it was, but this. Oh yeah, it did. It was on the 23rd.
Happy birthday, Donna,
Happy birthday, Donna.
said Edmund. So Donna, if you're with us, happy birthday. If you're not, happy birthday. Stephen English is saying, what's Tuesday? So, Stephen, Tuesday is Independence Day in the United States. So, it's a national holiday. So, there's the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ are all closed on Tuesday. And they're doing closing early on Monday as well. So, that's what's going on in the United States. You know, obviously, markets will be open elsewhere.
I don't know if I can say this, but I'm going to.
Uh-oh. That's usually not
That's when we said to the British family, get off our neck.
Oh, boy. July 4th, Independence Day. Yes. Barry said, Powell hasn't lied yet.
Powell? Jerome Powell?
So I'll have to think about, I mean, he hasn't lied yet, but is he misleading?
Well, I mean, if we're going to get into economics, okay, which I don't really want to, but you got to realize that he's fighting a losing battle. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying without saying that?
It's a rock and a hard place. There's no doubt about it. But whereas he continues to say, you know, the greater risk right now is, I mean, he just said his number one talking point. We still think the greater risk is that we don't do enough to curb inflation and that inflation runs away from us. That is what they are still worried about. So for as long as that is what they think the biggest risk to the economy is, then yes, they would be willing to raise rates, even if it means banks going out of business, even if it means the economy going into a recession. If that's what it takes to not have runaway inflation, that's the Fed's mandate. So they would be, you know, obviously they don't want to do that, but they want to stop inflation, and they're not happy. And the data is just, in my opinion, just ambiguous enough for them to hang their hats on, you know, potentially some more rate hikes here. I wouldn't do them, but, you know, who am I? Nobody. Organic Auto Garden said, if you were Powell and you had to announce a pause at the last meeting with the markets ripping, what would you say to the public? 1, 2, or no rate hikes? So I think you're saying what I'm saying, which is, you know, he paused. You can't, right, it would be a double whammy if he did a pause and said, oh, and plus probably there's no more. You know, now all of a sudden the market's going to rip and everything that he tried to do is going to get undone. So if you're going to pause the rate hikes, you want to talk as tough as you possibly can. We did a video on this the day before, you know, they announced, and that's kind of what I went through and said, I think we're going to get a pause with very tough talk so that people don't perceive that it's a dovish maneuver. They're still going to feel like the Fed's hawkish and we got to worry about rate hikes, and they've continued to double down on that. So I think it would be a big surprise. In fact, I'll go to what's priced into the futures. You know, we're at 84% priced into the futures that there's going to be a rate hike at the July meeting. So it would now be a big surprise if there wasn't. Now, that would be a good surprise from the market standpoint. If there isn't one, then when this setup happens and the market has priced in a rate hike, if we don't get one, the market's going to take off. So he did just do a pause. They did just do a pause. So we may get a rate hike. All indications would seem to be. Edmund is saying, so members live stream for Wednesday, ? You never confirmed. So let's confirm that right now. Yes, the members only live stream will be Wednesday after the market closes. So same time next day. And I'll send a notification out for that as well. Edmund said, Donna is my lovely daughter. Well, you can tell Donna from all of us here, happy birthday, right? Organic Auto saying yes, he's saying what I'm saying. And Organic Auto saying tough talk, I think he's bluffing, but maybe one more rate hike. So that's kind of where I'm at as well. Because again, I mean, that's one of their big weapons is to talk tough. All right, time for a new poll. George, are you with us? Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I snuck out for a phone call. Hang on.
All right, so before I get to some of the other stories that I pulled, let's get a poll going. Sorry, guys. Can't multitask. I'm typing. All right, so super simple one. I just went through basically and showed everybody, for those who just got here, we went through Bitcoin has held 30,000 on the 1-day time frame. I drilled all the way down to the 15-minute time frame, which we're looking at right now, and it has held this 30,000. So it's candle wicked below. But on the 1-day time frame, do you guys think Bitcoin's going to hold 30 and it's up from here? Or are we going to take another, do we have to have another pullback? I think we're going to hold 30,000. Organic Auto saying the big problem is their indicators. They are dealing with lagging indicators for inflation. So I agree with that. But by the same token, so those are the ones they look at and they talk about, but they also see everything else that's going on. And so they know the deal. But, if they want to raise rates by using some of those lagging indicators, it gives them, the ammunition to, they can point to that and say, hey, look, this isn't going fast enough for us. We need to keep raising rates. Let's see. Ray is saying, Tom, if Bitcoin price reaches 69,000 times 2, 138,000 in 2025, does it mean, so that would mean we double our all-time high in the next bull market. Does it mean leading miner like Mara will possibly reach the price of 2x its own all-time high in 2021? E.g. 80 times 2 is 160. So I think that's possible. I think it's going to, obviously it's going to be miner specific, so they're not all going to perform identically, but I think there will be miners that, I think the successful miners will all break their previous all-time highs. So that, to me, that much is a given. Obviously, the question becomes, well, which ones are the successful ones? And that's for everybody to do their own due diligence and decide. I think you guys know which ones I think are going to succeed. And yeah, I think if Bitcoin doubles, Bitcoin 138,000, I do think that, a lot of these will get, I think Marathon will be way past $80. I don't know that it's going to be $160. So I'm not sure if it's fair to say a double is going to equal a double, but I do think, it's going to equal something, Marathon over 100. If Bitcoin 138,000, if Marathon does what they say they're going to do, and they've been saying some very interesting things. If you haven't seen the video I put out yesterday, you can check it out. They're talking about a lot of stuff, and Marathon and Riot have set themselves up potentially for some monumental growth. And I'm not leaving CleanSpark out of this conversation because they've got some massive growth that's imminent as well. So, and a lot of the other companies have grown a lot. And there's, it's going to depend on, one of the big things with Marathon to me, if they're going to get to, are they going to get to 100 or 120 or 160 is, can they continue to bring the cost per coin down? That's something I talk about in the video. I think they have themselves set up to do so, but right now their cost per coin is too high. It's trending in the right direction is what I would say. And if you want my full deep dive on that, you can just check out the video. It's free to watch.
It's free to
but
watch.
I think that's going to be important, piece of the puzzle. There's a lot of other pieces to the puzzle.
So who do you like better, Marathon or Riot, for stock price growth right now?
I mean, Marathon has just had a big run recently. So they went from, hundreds of millions of dollars behind Riot in market cap, and now they've passed Riot in market cap. So let's just take a quick look at that. So I have my position in Riot. I didn't switch it to Marathon, and now I wouldn't now that they've done the run that they've done. So they're about 2.35 billion, and that checks out. I did trace this to their website yesterday, so this is, somewhere almost exactly correct. So, and Riot's 2.1 billion, Marathon's 2.3. So they're $250 million ahead, and at one point they were about $400 million behind in market cap. So they've taken their run. Marathon and Riot have done this many, many times over the years. One jumps ahead of the other, back and forth and back and forth. So I would expect more of that. Riot just came out with a gigantic announcement. If you guys have not watched my Riot video, and I will tell you, in like 10 hours, more people had watched the Marathon video than watched the Riot video in 3 days. So people aren't paying as much attention to Riot. So I do think there's a chance for them to run more. They're not as in the spotlight. They're much more high profile than most of the rest of the Bitcoin miners, but Marathon's the highest profile by far. It's not even close. They trade the most, so Riot traded 30 million at, just under $12, but if we go back and look, Marathon traded 63 million at just under $14. So that's double the volume. And these two, there is no third place in volume. Those two are by far the most popular Bitcoin miners. I'm going to go to the market cap and just... Where's market? Is that my other... I got to go to my other chart. Okay, so by market cap, you can see, like, BitDeer is new to this world. We can talk about BitDeer. I've been getting some questions on BitDeer. They just put out their first ever monthly operational report in the month of May, so I expect them to do so again in June over the next couple of weeks. We'll start to get some flavor on that, but I think this is wildly overpriced, so there, I don't have to do a deep dive video on it. I think this is run... I think it's run way out ahead of itself. It's the third largest, but even at that, you can see it's just about half the size of a Marathon or a Riot. And then, it drops all the way down. Cypher, is a third the size of Marathon right now. So those two companies are so much bigger than all the rest of the Bitcoin miners that, and then over here, I don't even have them on the chart. You can see, these guys, and this information is now 1 week old, so I'll update this and put it out again this weekend. I do that every weekend. You can see a week ago, NE was 26 million, and now it looks like they're more like 22 million. So they had a bad week.
So you're thinking they're going to get down to about 15 probably?
Maybe, they've been getting beat up since they announced and did this reverse split, which seems to happen, and we took a vote on this, and more than 50% of our voters here in our sample group said that a reverse stock split is just bad no matter what, period. Yeah. There's no other conversation. It's just bad. So you can see this.
The thing I worry about, Tom, is when they get a notice again.
Well, if they're gonna turn around and get another notice, then they're gonna have to be at a market cap of like $5 million, which means at that point it's over.
Well, I mean, does it have to go below $1, right?
Yeah.
It's at 92 cents after hours right now, so it's only 92 more cents.
Any's at like $1.90 something or something like
that.
Yeah,
$1.92.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's
got to have to go down 90 cents. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got to go from 20 million to 10 million in market cap, or 21 million to 10.5 million, whatever it is. So if that happens,
That'd be crazy.
well, if that happens, that means, that's probably not good news for them, I guess, is all I would say. We're at 84 likes. Thank you, everybody, for smashing the like button. If you have not yet, if you could please smash the like button. We've been trying to get to 100, so it helps the stream out a lot. Much appreciated. And I don't have my smash the like button. I keep hitting it just so that you guys know I've hit that like 20 times, but still, for some reason, I keep having the same exact result. Let's see. Organic Auto. Well, we were waiting for the growth news from Riot. At least I was. And they finally gave it to us. So, yeah, thank you for saying those exact words. Because I will tell you, if you watch, and it sounds like you're totally up to speed. If you have not seen my Riot video, I recommend watching it. They put out a press release. It's been a year and a half since they announced an increase in their future exahash. So, I did a video updating it. My previous video, I talked about how I was rebalancing my portfolio and I was selling off some of my Riot because it had become my biggest position by far. And, that didn't make sense to me. So, I got some people, a lot of people just read the thumbnail and I think that's as deep as they dive. And they're like, oh, you just told everybody to sell Riot. First of all, I never tell anybody to do anything, right? This is not financial advice. I'm letting you know what I do. And if you watch the video, I let you know why I did it. I wasn't abandoning ship on Riot, but I thought they had run up. They hadn't put out any new information in well over a year. Now, boom, 2 or 3 weeks later, they put out a press release. This is their biggest press release they've ever put out by far. Right, they're talking about, in this press release, they talk about a roadmap to 35 exahash. So, they're at 12 right now. For the last year and a half to 2 years, they've been talking about their path to get to 12 exahash. And now that just jumps, and I'm not saying they get there overnight, and a lot of things have to happen, and it's going to cost a lot of money and potential stock dilution and all those things, but they've committed to get to 21 exahash, I believe. And is it 21? Yeah. So that puts them right back in the conversation among the largest Bitcoin miners. And then they've got some options to get much bigger than that. So it's a huge, huge game changer. So with new information, I hope everybody, that's part of due diligence. When new information comes out, you got to absorb that new information. Sometimes it's great news. Sometimes it's awful news. And if you're in love with a stock and you just hold it because you think it's great, and you're not paying attention to the press releases they're putting out and the financial data they're putting out, then you're probably going to get burned. So, yeah, you gotta adjust accordingly, adjust your plan accordingly. So to me, I buy and hold because it's very rare that a press release comes out that changes the course of a company's, the direction the company's going. But it does happen. We've seen it happen. So, you always got to pay attention. So, Darren,
remember how there used to be
ahead,
a
George.
risk factor? Remember how you used to take how do you do that, like, when you're looking at a stock like any? Like, and you know what I mean? Does that make sense what I'm saying? The risk factor, and you used to multiply it. There was a way to do this. I remember learning about this in college.
The way that stocks trade right now, you've got your fundamentals, you got your technicals, and you've got the stock market all over the place. And in particular, with the Bitcoin miners, remember, every single Bitcoin miner is down, not right this moment, but from their high to their low, they were all down between 91 and 99% in an 18-month period. So, every analysis is kind of out the window. When your stock's down 98.5%, you're looking at different equations, things you've never had to look at before, and you got to use your judgment, I guess, is what I would say. And any is still one of those stocks that's in, they're down. Let's go to their chart. I mean, this stock is down, still near its all-time low, Let's go to the 1 week and then zoom out. I mean, so I'm going to ignore this. This was 1 week. This was August of 2021 where they spiked all the way up here. So even if I ignore that and just go, you know, this was October. So October, November of 2021, that's when they all hit their all-time highs. So from here to here, you know, this is not exactly precise, but this stock's still down around 97%. So now it can still go down to zero. So, you know, that's always the downside risk, but what's your potential upside here on a stock that's still down 97% off of its highs? Having said that, you know, any is a special circumstance. They've changed their you know, CEO. They've drastically changed their financial position. They put out some press releases. They had plans, none of which they followed through on. Right? They according to their plans a year and a half ago, they'd be at 32.4 exahash by the end of 2022. Well, they ended up at less than 1 exahash. So obviously they missed, and not by a little bit. So, you know, you got to dig in and find out the whole story on this. But since then, they've gotten a lot healthier. They made a realistic plan, and they've been executing that plan. So, you know, to me, there's a lot of judgment you got to use inside of your due diligence. And these stocks, and I end every video with this. People are probably sick of me here saying it, but these are highly, highly volatile stocks. All the Bitcoin miners are highly volatile stocks. They're a leveraged play on a highly volatile asset, which is Bitcoin. You know, cryptocurrencies are volatile in themselves. This is a leveraged play on that. So, you know, this is among the most volatile things you can do. But still within that, we've seen, and I'm going to go to a chart, we've seen, this was through last week, so I need to update this. But if you hung in there, you know, if you were holding Marathon, let's say, for instance, and you dollar cost averaged, Marathon's up, as of last Friday, they were up 272% year to date. Bit Digital was up 625% year to date. So volatility goes both ways. Yeah, we got punished for a period of time during a bear market crypto winter. But, you know, it's been good news for a lot of these Bitcoin miners. There are still some down here that I think are lagging. Some of these are lagging because they deserve to lag, and they're not ever going to get where they're going. Some of them, I think, represent big opportunities. So that's our job.
To find which ones are the opportunities.
That's right. We got to find which ones are the opportunities, and we're not all going to agree, and there's more than one. You know, a lot of these are going to succeed. So, you know, we can agree to disagree, and sometimes, you know, we'll both be right. Hopefully we're not both wrong.
When do you think Core is going to come out with their information of what they're going to do?
I don't know. That's always a guess, but it seems like it's imminent.
Right.
So, having said that, I would not be holding on to Core Scientific up 819% this year. That's a half a year. I mean, you don't. These are the types of, you know, I always talk about this. 3x, 4x, 5x, 7x, 9x, 10x. In a lot of YouTubers talk about, oh, this stock's going to 10x. Well, almost no stock ever 10x's. That's just the reality. So you're talking about ultra high risk stocks when you get into that scenario. To me, this is one of the few opportunities that I've ever seen in the history of the stock market where there are some companies with very strong fundamentals that could and should 5x or 10x, some of which already have. So that's why, you know, I'm very committed. Obviously, as you guys know, this channel focuses a lot on the Bitcoin miners. I personally look at a lot more stocks than this, but these are the ones I talk about by far the most. And I do want to continue. George, we've talked about diversifying what we talk about again. We used to talk about a lot of high growth stocks. Well, high growth, you know, risk off was the deal for a year. So all those high growth risk on stocks were not worth talking about, but we could be cycling back around to where, you know, it's time to talk about some more stuff. But I'm not going to abandon these because I think these guys are nowhere near done doing what I believe they're going to do. Edmund said Iris Energy committed to 9.1 exahash, and they're at $256 million market cap. I bought some options. I got almost none of them, but I bought some Iris options today, and I did add to Iris Energy. That's the only thing I bought today. And I did so much later in the day, not during that window of time when everything plummeted. Everything plummeted for, a half an hour, but Iris Energy kind of stayed down the rest of the day. So later in the day, I did dollar cost average into that one position. That's the position I've been buying the most of in 2023. And, like Edmund said, they already put a plan to get to 9.1 exahash. And they're at $256 million market cap. It just seems out of whack. They seem underpriced to me. And let me go to this chart. Now, this is May, so we're about to find out everybody's June results, but, Bitcoin mined in May. If you look at Iris Energy, they jumped up to, I'm going to get Core Scientific out of there because so Core Scientific notwithstanding, because, obviously we don't know what the numbers mean for them. Iris Energy was in 4th place. They were in 6th place in April and 8th place in March. So they've been running up this list. They're now ahead of Cypher and Bitfarms and TerraWolf and Hive, Argo Blockchain and Hut. So they passed all of these. They weren't even on this list last year. So, they're mining over 500 Bitcoin. They got a path to get to 9.1 exahash, and they're a $260 million market cap company. So I think eventually that straightens itself out. I don't know how long I'm going to have to wait. I would say I don't care. I do care. I hope it's sooner than later, but I will wait. I've been waiting with some of these stocks a lot longer, right? Iris is one of my newest positions. Iris and Stronghold are my newest positions. A lot of these others I've been holding for a long, long time, and I expect to hold them for many years to come.
Is it true that by the way, I have to say something about Tesla.
Do it.
I'm up 14% when I made that call to tell everybody to buy Tesla, by the way, FYI.
So where do you think it's going next? Should we
Me, I think it's still going. I don't think we're done for this run. Do you?
No, I
don't.
I
think EVs are going to get hot. I think they're going to get hot here for a little while.
I don't think Tesla's done. We've got some winners and some losers in EVs. We did have one on my list file bankruptcy, which is stock ticker RIDE, Lordstown Motors.
What, did they even get a car on the road?
I don't know if they got a car on the road. I stopped paying attention. They stopped building their own cars and had somebody else build them. They sold their warehouse. This story was a train wreck. So I have not updated my due diligence in 10 months on them, but
how much was what was their biggest market cap?
Oh,
what'd they get up to?
Man,
5 billion?
I'm gonna look and see if
that's an interesting one.
Let's see if I got two different websites, and sometimes they're not 100% accurate, but let's just So according to this, and I'll have to double check. Yeah, this is not right at all. This is saying 0.3 billion, which is $310 million. They were drastically high. I don't know why these malfunction sometimes. I think reverse splits and that kind of stuff makes them go crazy, but they were much bigger than that.
Yeah, I thought it was right around 5 billion.
Yeah, and now I think they're 30 million or something like that. Yeah, so if we look at their chart, I'll look at their chart. This will give you an indication. And obviously it's not one-to-one, the stock price to the market cap due to dilution, but So right now, this is a $2 stock. This was, accounting for the reverse stock split, so it never really actually traded at these numbers. But apples to apples, this was close to a $480 stock, and it's now a $2 stock. So if that puts it into perspective, this is a train wreck. This is, they're done. Well, they're not. They filed Chapter 11. So some people say, well, maybe they're really like Core Scientific that comes out of Chapter 11, or Hertz that came out of Chapter 11 really healthy, and that does happen every once in a great while, but for the most part, and the writing's been on the wall for years with Lordstown Motor. So it's not like this is a surprise to anybody.
You think Neo's gonna make it?
Neo? To me, Neo is not a company I would touch.
Oh, it's up 3% again today, so.
Neo's up 3%. XPeng's up 13% today. Li Automotive is only up 2%, but Li Automotive is the big one. Out of those three, which were, those are the three EV companies based in China. They all have a little bit different models. Neo was supposed to be the one that was going to be the big winner. There are several super high-profile YouTubers that talk about Neo on a regular basis, but the truth is, Li Automotive, which was in a distant third a year and a half ago, is now bigger than both of them combined. It's not even close. Wow. So they turned out to be the winner, and I'm not talking stock price, I'm talking market cap. For now, they seem like the big winner. I don't know. There's still people that are very enthusiastic about Neo, so maybe they're going to go on a giant run. I don't have confidence in them. There's so many other things I would pick ahead of that. So I'd rather be in Tesla than Neo, if that tells you anything. And you know that I am not in Tesla. I'm not a Tesla person, but, you got to give them their due. And I've criticized them, and there were years where I said this was the most overvalued stock in the entire stock market. But they've grown, and I still think they're overvalued. But having said that, I see how their valuation works now, and to me, they're probably going to run up from here. I think that'd be the better bet.
I have another question. Apple. Where does Apple end?
Apple, to me, is in a ridiculous place. So they just crossed, let me see, I think it pulled up.
3.05 trillion. I'd be happy with just that $5 billion.
Yeah, so exactly. So Apple hits $3 trillion market cap as tech rally continues. So they're back over $3 trillion. They're at $194. I mean, almost feel like, at 194, they're going to get to 200. But this seems, this seems, and I know Apple's a monster, so people are going to crush me for this, but I think this is way overvalued. Well, way overvalued might be an exaggeration. I think this is overvalued at $3 trillion.
So now, sorry, go ahead.
Their PE is... They have a PE of a small cap high growth company. This is the biggest cap company in the world by far.
So now will people rotate out of that into these risk on stocks? Is that what normally happens?
Something like that normally happens. There's a rotation now. Is the risk on small cap high growth next? I don't know. They got it was only just I guess it was about 2.5 years ago that those stocks got into a bubble that was crazy. So, they've all crashed since then. So, the winners, the ones that survive, yeah, I do think it's time to start rotating back into those. And it may take a while for them to get where they're going, but I'm not buying Apple at 194. It's so close to 200, it feels inevitable that it will run to 200, but I don't think it belongs at these numbers. They do make an incredible amount of money. But $3 trillion still leaves them at like a 30 or 35 PE. And they're not a very high growth company. They're the you know, they have a monumental amount of revenue. They have monumental amount of net income, but are they going to keep growing from here? That's, you know, stocks with a 30 or 40 PE have an expectation of massive growth, and I just don't think they have another decade left of 15 to 20% growth left in them. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong.
What about Nvidia? Do you think that was just going to be a pump and dump or no?
No, now I think so. Yeah, now when I said for a long time I thought that Tesla was the most overvalued stock in the stock market, I now give that crown to Nvidia, in my opinion. So I'm probably making everybody mad. I know these are everybody's favorite stocks, but $1 trillion for Nvidia? Come on.
Come on, man.
I mean, that's crazy. Nvidia's worth more than all their competitors put together, and yeah, they've got some great technology. It's a great company. I mean, let's look at Nvidia's PE. I mean, this thing, there's just no way to grow into this. It's a $1 trillion stock. They have a 214 PE ratio. And I know that's not the only number to look at, but you know what? It's one of the numbers you got to look at. And $1 trillion, right? What's their, you know, and again, Yahoo is not always exactly correct, but if you look at their income statement, this is a top line company of, you know, $27 million. Now, they did just have a beat. They beat they had a top line beat that was huge last quarter. So, you know, maybe they're going to grow, but, you know, $27 billion revenue company, and they're trading at $1 trillion. Their net income last year was $4 billion. Now, it was 9.7 the year before, but it was 4 the year before that. But what should it be to be trading at $1 trillion? You know, you can see their PE's out of control. And I don't know how they can possibly grow into it. And yet their price target is 471. So the average, not that it's my strong opinion, it's that this number is usually of absolutely no value at all. So this is the average of all of the analysts. And the analysts have their own, many of them are not up to date in their target price, and many of them have different agendas. So I find very little correlation to the analyst target price and what actually ends up happening. So I don't ever use this ever. That's just me personally. But analysts think this is going to go up from here. So I think it's crazy. But you know what? The last stock that I thought that was crazy was Tesla, and it just kept going up. But now Nvidia is where Tesla was. Right? This company's significantly larger than Tesla is now. Right? Tesla has gotten back up to $829 billion. So they're approaching $1 trillion, but they're still, you know, $170 billion smaller than Nvidia.
Well, and okay, we got to ask about the one Meta.
Meta, I got a new opinion. Well, not brand new, but I just want to say hello to Sour Melon Gaming, who I just see has joined us. Hello, Darren. Hello, Ray. If I missed you, hello, everybody. Sour Melon Gaming said, I'm probably dumb, but I'm still going to hold Core's 11-cent average. So, hey, listen, I mean, you got to do you. To me, I would take some profits from 11 cents, but, you know.
Well, I mean, well, I guess it's not up to them, the owners. It's up to the mercy of the bankruptcy court. So if like somebody like Elon Musk came in and bought them.
Right. We don't know what a current share is, not a future share. Right? They're going to go through the finalization of their bankruptcy and come out with an entire new allocation.
But they could like he could just buy whatever debt and pay off all the debt and just take over. I mean, right?
they have said there will be something. Yes, but they even in their most recent filing said there will be something left over for shareholders.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
Two pennies.
there's a reason people are optimistic. I just don't. For me, I have other ones that I can quantify so much better, in my opinion. That I feel better about the risk reward.
Oh, nice.
But but by the same token, as a result, I missed all of an 800% run to the upside. So, yeah, I avoided the risk, but I missed an 800% return in 6 months.
And I will say there was somebody that wanted to buy it, but somebody listened to somebody else.
Yeah, anybody that listens to anybody else is...
I was like, Tom, what do you got to lose? It's 2 cents. Well, I mean, 4 cents. It's 4 cents.
It was a no-brainer, and you are not alone, George. You talked about that, and there were 2 or 3 people that said, hey, why not just... In November of 2022, there were some people that said, why not just buy a bunch of everything? Because whatever ends up winning is going to outpace by far the ones that lose. And those people that did that were right. And they're up big.
Tom, I thought we'd get to 100 likes like nothing today.
But we did not.
It's because my face isn't up. I'm telling you, it's because
that's
my
right.
face.
The people
gotta get that cam corner, whatever it is. What's it called? Webcam up.
You need your webcam. Hive put out their annual report for their year end, but it's their March 31st, 2023. So they're the last ones to put that out. So I have not done a deep dive on that yet. I do have some initial thoughts on this, but we got to dig deeper. And I'm hoping to I have been talking with them, so we're hoping to have them on the channel. George, you want to talk to Frank?
Yo, Frank. Yeah, sure.
Use
your phone, George. Oh, yeah. My phone dies like so fast.
Is your phone dying?
Yeah.
Plug it in.
No. I'm on my computer right now. They're just saying use my phone.
Oh, so that you had a camera. Gotcha.
I guess I could have done that. See, you guys are smarter than me.
I'm going to end the current poll. Will Bitcoin hold 30,000? 78% say yes. So we have a consensus on that one. Big time. If you have not smashed the like button, we're almost at 100 likes. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. It's free. It helps the channel out. And if you are not a member, you're welcome to join our group of members. We have the best members of any
we have the
channel
richest
on the
members of
internet.
any channel. That's what you need to say. We have the rich, unconfirmed, but I believe it's confirmed.
Can neither confirm nor deny that statement, but we have awesome members, and I know a lot of members have gotten to know each other, not necessarily in person, but through the group, and it's been a great group. So again, thank you to all the existing members.
You know what we haven't talked about yet, Tom?
$5 worth.
You know what we haven't talked about? Nano
Dimension. I know I did. I committed to doing a video on Nano Dimension. So I'm not going to,
Oh, you're not going to spoil it. Okay, I got you.
I don't want to spoil my video, and only a small group of people are interested in that, but I did get at least 5 requests in the last 2 days.
Okay, just answer me this. Do you think it will double?
Oh, that's the spoiler alert of all time.
Okay. Maybe yes, maybe no. Is that what you're saying?
It could be. It could be.
Oh, okay.
Darren is saying every dollar I don't have in Iris is sickening. That's kind of how I've been feeling this year. I buy a little Bitfarms plus some Iris, and then I buy some CleanSpark plus some Iris. But I got a lot of catching up to do because, I just started buying Iris in 2023.
Tom, have you looked at the 10K challenge at all? Is it time to bring it back?
I have not looked at it. It's long past time to bring
I'm pulling it up right now. I have not looked at it either.
Well, we started at 10K. We crashed down to, I think, like 1,000. I mean, it was disastrous, like $1,700 or something.
Wow, it's $3,600.
Yeah, so we're up like 150% this year, but obviously from an
No, but
awful,
you know what?
awful.
I have a question. Do you think this will get over $10,000 this year or next year?
Well, we're halfway done with this year, so I think it'll be sometime after the halving that will get back over 10,000.
Okay.
And that was by no means the goal of that challenge. Now, the big mistake we made in that challenge, and I'll say I made, unlike in our personal portfolios, whereas these stocks crashed, we got to dollar cost average in. One of the rules of the 10K challenge was we weren't allowed to add any money to it.
Right.
So we just had to sit with these positions, that we bought in January and February. And I even tried to stretch it out into March a little bit, but, it was after that these things really tanked. So it's that.
I mean, do you think, I'm just looking at the stocks that are in it, do you think Curiosity Stream might want to get out of, or no?
I have no conviction left in Curiosity Stream. It's a tiny position, but I'd have no conviction left. Streaming, the whole streaming
shares. I
world's
mean,
a
it's
disaster.
$200. When you have just $200, you know what I mean?
I know. It's probably time to allocate that to something else.
AYRO.
That I would still hold. That's Arrow.
Arrow?
They're a very small nano cap EV company. And I think that I remain confident in that one. It is a high risk, as was the nature of that portfolio. It's a high risk, high reward stock. I still think they're going to get where they're going. I still like Arrow for if anybody wonders. So I would hold that.
Well, you're very heavy into Bitfarms on this.
Yes.
By the way.
And
very heavy.
Which mirrors the rest of my world. That's always been a big position.
What wasn't it? Do you remember when it was at $5?
Yeah.
You're like, there's no way it's going lower than $5.
That seemed unthinkable. At $5, and I said the same thing at $4, and etc., and so on and so on. And then it got to the point where it got under $1, to the point where the vast majority of people, were convinced that they were going to need to do a reverse split. So I will say, even when it got into the low, it got down under 40 cents, and I continued to dollar cost average in and felt very strong they were never going to have to do a reverse stock split. There have been now 4 companies that did have to do a reverse stock split. They were not one of them. They authorized themselves to do so, but they didn't have to do it.
I got one for you. This is a good poll because Barry just brought this up. Joe versus the pro.
Joe versus the...
Should we do Joe versus the pro? You take 10,000, I take 10,000.
I'm
50 or 100, whatever you want it to be.
I'm in. Joe, well, yeah.
Joe, but we're asked if people would watch that channel if we did that. Joe versus the pro. And then we got to commit. I can commit to a stream. I just can't commit to a stream like after hours. I can do it during the day.
But you hate trading stocks. Can you commit to doing this?
Dude, I'll blow you out of the water. As long as we can do cryptos.
The trash talk has...
We have to be able to do cryptos and stock.
Fine.
Not only just stock. I got to be able to do cryptos. Does that seem fair? Is that fair?
Yeah.
I'll just invest in my own coins. Because I love crypto. I think there's going to be more. I hate to say this. I think there's going to be more growth. Well, this summer, don't count this summer. I think this summer we're going to have a great summer for stocks. I think after that, I think crypto is going to make more gains after that.
You invest in whatever you want to invest in. That's your
That you.
That's your
I'm
business.
gonna need to talk to you, you guys, and you're gonna have to help me out. We're gonna have to do our own stream.
Does anybody care? Would
And
anybody
Joe
care? Is it
versus
worth
the
our
pro.
time? Does anybody care?
I'm saying yes.
Oh, you're in.
Uh-oh.
What?
It's pretty much a runaway.
Well, we're only a few
Uh-oh.
votes in,
Oh.
so there's lots of time left. Lots of time. We'll let that one sit.
What does it need to be? We did it, Tom. We got to 100.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for 100
Wow,
likes.
look, no one cares. No one thinks it's a good idea. It's
See?
getting lower and lower.
That's why it's worth asking.
That was very nice, because they don't want to see you get beat, Tom.
I appreciate that, everybody. Thank you.
I'm going to hear him say, if Bitfarms only would have got to $2, I would have won.
Bitfarms to $2. Not financial advice. Just my opinion.
So what do you think Bitcoin's going to do this weekend and through next week? And what are you thinking?
I think I'm on record. I think it's going to hold above 30,000. I think, I think this was all false, this pullback, and we're going to get back into the groove. And somewhere, by the end of the long weekend in the U.S., somewhere by the middle of next weekend and next week, I think we break out to the upside and start making our run over 31,000. Start making the run from 31 to 35. I'm not saying we get to 35 next week, but I think that's the next move from here.
That's interesting. I know what I would have put all the money in, and I bet you I would win, and you know what I'm talking about, but we can't talk about it.
Yeah, it's not a real fun challenge if you put all the money in one thing.
I know.
But hey, you can do it. Listen, there's no rules.
I put all the money in one thing, but I couldn't tell you guys what it was in.
Well, if you can't
It's just a
disclose
guy.
it,
He told me give him some money. He says, hey, don't worry about it. I'll give your money back.
I guarantee you.
Yeah, no one cares. There's 83 people watching. Only 17 people voted, so no one cares.
So nobody cares.
So that's good. Takes stress off of me. Oh, you closed it?
No, it was, nobody cared, so it's okay. Yeah. Listen, I know you were not looking forward to that. Even if you won, I don't think you would have enjoyed that.
That's very stressful for me.
We should
I would have
spread
started
bet
a company.
on how many times Tom will say not financial advice in a stream. Oh, yeah. Well, this is not
Take
financial
a drink
advice.
every time. Take a drink every time Tom says not financial advice. This is for entertainment only.
KY Effects, a great show, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. I won't speak on behalf of George.
I appreciate that. So anything else you want to talk about before we end it? Or before I leave and you keep going?
Yeah, well, Ray's got another poll he wants to do. I had a couple miscellaneous things to talk about, but I don't have any other big. Nndm finally making some profits. I know. I'm going to do, I did commit earlier in the stream, I'm going to do a deep dive video on Nndm. It's been a long time, and it's been and everybody that's stuck with that has been very patient. So it's time to update. They just put out some news. Was that yesterday or today? And yeah, they're making money. And we'll see where they're going from here.
Was this the company that had all the cash?
They had $1 billion. They still have $1 billion.
And everybody was like, "Oh, that's a junk company." This is that one.
Yes. This was a company that was valued at half its cash. So I don't even know how you get there. Sour Melon Gaming, Tom's famous saying used to be, we're bouncing along the bottom. Those were the days. I'm glad those days are over, Sour Melon Gaming. Thank goodness. Good riddance. We'll do a last poll per Ray. All right, super quick poll. Where do we think Bitcoin's going by the end of the year? Bitcoin high for the year 2023. So this doesn't mean December 31st. It just means at some point by the end of this year. What's the highest point Bitcoin's getting to? Let us know. Voting is free. So feel free to vote. Smashing the like button is free. So feel free to smash the like button. Subscribing to the channel is free. It seems like our shadow ban on subscribers is over.
Oh, does it?
Yes. I don't know what in the world. That was like a couple of months of just unbelievable. And it's still not back to where it used to be, but it's increased significantly.
What, you think it's something I said or you said or?
I don't know.
Said?
They put us in timeout or investors got exhausted. I don't know.
I don't think it was that. I think it was something that was one of us said.
Tom, have you been researching and or buying the quantum computing stocks? They are primed to make a run. So I have been looking but not buying. So I know that's a very, very popular spot. I'm making a note.
Hey, how's Hut doing, by the way, since we didn't talk about them at all? Are they still jamming or no?
They're still jamming. Their stock price is still jamming. They were up 2.5% today. They're at $3.30, but I'm going to pull their chart up because I mean they've been leading the way here, and that's not how this has worked for a long time. Got to get off.
Come up with one idea.
So this goes back to June 12th, which is arbitrary. That's like 3 weeks ago. So, you know, they're up 75% in the last 3 weeks.
Wow.
That's a run. And I really do think this has to do with their high performance computing. I think Hive's big run, they've been talking about high performance computing. They're not doing anywhere near what Hut is doing, but they're getting into that game. And I think, you know, they're both making a big run. I did watch Jamie talk the other day, and, you know, that's her background. She's very jazzed about the high-performance computing and all of that. You know, she's newer to the Bitcoin world, and obviously she's on record as being a big-time bull, very bullish on Bitcoin, but they've been waiting for this moment. So it seemed like they got it wrong for a long time. Hut was out of favor for a long time, but now all of a sudden people think maybe they got it right. So we'll see. I feel like that's a kind of a lot to run up in a short period of time. And they did say they would come on and talk to us. They gave a time frame though. They wanted a couple of weeks. So I don't know if they were traveling or whatever the case may be. Breaking news said, what do you think of Mullen stock? So I'm steering clear. And then Darren said at breaking news, Mullen is where money goes to die. Well, so far that is. For those of you who are interested, that should be on this list, but it might not be. I've given up on them. mean, this has been ugly. So from February of this year to now. Ouch. That's 99%. And by the way, February of this year, they were already probably down 90%. And so they've been down another 99% since then. I mean, this is just a flyer. This is a lottery ticket. Right, they're down 99.99%. Sour Mountain Gaming, does Core's run right now help any for the shareholders when the Chapter 11 outcome is decided? So really, the answer to that is no. That's why I would be inclined to take my profits.
I mean, take what you can afford not to risk, to lose.
Not financial advice. Can add that to the list. Darren said I'm in several quantum computing stocks, so I'm gonna take down the list, Darren. Let's see, and I'll mention them: QBTS, ARQQ. Is that the ARK? Is that just the ARK fund? RGTI. And QUBT. So for anybody who's interested, there's some quantum computing stocks and or ETFs. Victor asked, what do you think of any Sphere 3D? So I talked about maybe doing I got to update my I think I'm going to do a video on that. So I'm going to leave that to my video. Hopefully that should come out in the next week. But I think it's a very interesting stock. I think it's a stock that deserves to be talked about. I'm not sure, other than the group of us where a lot of us may be interested. I know there's not mass interest in that stock, but they do have a lot going on, and they've made a lot of changes. Breaking news said 99.9% Mullen is down, but 250 million cash and production is started. I mean, that's why I say it's a flyer. If they make it, down 99.9%. If these guys make it, you know, who knows? The sky's the limit. But it's risk reward. And I'm already in a lot of high risk, what I consider high risk stocks. Stephen English, do you think we got the spot ETF this year, given today's not bad, in my opinion, news? I'm going to say I don't. I'm going to say not in 2023. I hope I'm wrong. And the only reason that I'm saying that is I just know the SEC is bent on delay. They can't. I shouldn't say they can't. I do not believe they will stop it. I think it's inevitable, but I think it's their mission to delay it as long as they possibly can. So I would not be surprised to see it spill into Q1 of 2024. But I would not be surprised. It's overdue. So I wouldn't be surprised if it happens this year, but I don't think it's money in the bank. Darren said, I really enjoy the community support here. First time I've gotten to chat and listen to the other like-minded investors here. Thank you, Tom and George. Darren, you're welcome. I'm glad that you enjoy. Hopefully everybody's gets something out of this community and being a member of the community. So much appreciated and glad you enjoy. Stephen English is saying if they wanted to delay it, and I think he's talking about the SEC, why give the advice so soon after the application? I think anytime Gary Gensler gets to do something negative, and I know if you really think about it, you could view this as positive, but you can see the market did this. So, you know, the market panicked when he put this out. And Gary Gensler, I can't speak for him, but in my opinion, it would seem clear that he hates cryptocurrency. He hates Bitcoin. And he will create FUD at any opportunity given to him. I do think ultimately, you know, and this is just pure speculation, I think ultimately it's going to cost him his job. Because he's drawn a line. It's either cryptocurrency or him. And, you know, I feel like I know how that ends. What do you guys think? Is that... And what's funny is there was a lot of optimism when he came in because he was somebody who knew the space and understood, and yet he's been, and it's about control. He wants control of all of it. So maybe I shouldn't say he hates it. I should say that he wants to control it all, and any effort in any way for them to do something outside of his control, he despises. So I'm looking at the poll, and it looks like, so we did this poll once before, and it looks like we're getting similar, maybe a little more optimistic, but similar results. 45K is at 44%. Bitcoin's high for 2023. So I think people are still looking at, you know, the mid 40s, maybe the high 40s. 55K got 18%, and new all-time high got 24%. So this was spread out a little bit. There's some optimism. And then 35K got 15%. So that's the run we're looking for right now. And that might be kind of where George's theory was, which was maybe a quick run up to 35 and then get beat up from there.
Well, all I know is this almost seems like it can be one of the last years it can get beat up.
So last chance to punish us.
That's how I feel. I don't know, though. I mean, trust me, every day I'm second guessing myself. But then my XRP went down, so what do I know?
Every day, you know, every day you're second guessing yourself, and that's exactly what they're doing to all of us. So for anybody else that feels that way, just know, like, to a certain extent, we're all, that's what they're trying to do. And you can see the market certainly second guessed themselves. Bitcoin crashed in a few minutes here. Now it rebounded quickly, but, you know, that's the mass confusion. Nobody's really exactly sure what comes next.
The chicken or the egg?
The chicken and the egg, both are yet to come.
All right, I'm going to sneak out, guys. Thanks for watching.
George, thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to wrap it up as well. So thank you very much, George. I
waved like people could see me. I'm waving. I'll see you guys. Thanks, Tom. Oh, if you're wrapping up, I'll wait for you to go when I go.
All right, so thank you, everybody, from both George and myself. Thanks so much for joining our community and being with us on these live streams. Hope everybody had a good trading week. This, I think, was a good week overall for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the long weekend if you're in the United States. And enjoy your time wherever you may be. Thanks for joining us from around the world. Everybody have a great weekend. George, thanks so much for taking your time as well.
My pleasure, Tom.
All right.
You too, Tom.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.